Right, hello, welcome to a day in the life of a 21-year-old poor excuse for an IFBB pro. That is probably going to be the title. It is Wednesday today. I am midway through a deload currently because I was just beaten up from training. Had a strop Monday because I went and tried to train and it didn't go well. So I think I mentioned in my last video that I was going to have to deload. Funnily enough, I was stubborn and tried not to, and it didn't end well. So here we are, day 3 of a reluctant deload. Got some tissue work this morning. I mean, Wednesday's normally my rest day. I train arms for half an hour, but I class it as a rest day. So effectively, it's just day in the life of a deload / rest day, which I've not done for quite a while. So yeah, as I said, got tissue work this morning at 11. I've got up, I've done my check-in, sent that to Tom. I've done my morning steps, not cardio, just steps. So it's about half hour on the treadmill. It's a very nice day for once in the UK, which is rare. It's coming into summer now, but yesterday it was smashing it down, so short-lived. But yeah, gonna get meal 1 together now. Effectively, all I do today is eat a shitload of food and do a shitload of work. There's not much else to it, so I've put a Q&A on my Instagram to try and make this a little bit more interesting. So we've got questions that I can answer throughout the video. But meal 1, crumpets and whey. Obviously, it's got on at like 5,500 calories now, so pretty uncomfortable to eat. This is probably like the nutritional worst meal of the day, but it's just easy to get in the morning. So meals go, I eat this one, then I'll do cream of rice, then I'll do, it's a rest day, so it's different actually. I'll do chicken and rice / fish and rice, probably fish and rice. Some beef mince at the end of the day with maybe some sweet potato fries, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, because it's a rest day, I'm at like just over 5,000 calories, I think. So I'm not going to do food in detail because this is not a full day of eating and it very quickly will become one. I'll just briefly tell you what I'm eating. But I'm not going to do the whole cinematic making food. Not that anything I do is cinematic, but yeah. Protein of choice is the Trained by JP grass-fed ISO Pro. So that's 100% protein isolate from grass-fed cows, which is like just the most premium fucking whey protein you can get, properly sourced and all of that sort of stuff. Now, I'm not pretentious in the fact that I think you need to be taking that. The only reason I'm doing it right now is just because it helps my digestion massively. So obviously it's got to that stage now where I was pulling out Perform Whey because it's got some trace fats in there, and it just sat a little bit heavier. This, because it's an isolate, is obviously a lot thinner, so it just sits a lot nicer. So I'm on that. Also swapped to white fish for majority of my chicken meals. So just pulling out all the stops to help digestion as much as possible, and it has been working. Digestion has been easy. So yeah, it's probably my favourite whey protein I've had in quite some time. Obviously in prep I prefer like a Perform because it's a little bit sweeter, a little bit thicker. You can make a whey paste and stuff with it, but right now in the off season, I don't think you can beat this. So yeah, if you do want any, or just any protein in general, go to Full Ball Sports, code Eagles, grab yourself some. And yeah, I'm gonna eat and probably catch you after. 9:30 in the morning. It is a very nice day. I've had my meal 2, so I've got my cream of rice now. So I get up at normally about 7. This morning I had to do check-ins. Normally I just get up straight on the treadmill, do some steps, and eat my first meal. Just had my second meal now. I need to go and sit down and start doing a load of work. Although I leave for tissue work in an hour and 10 minutes, so I'll do like 1 check-in, maybe 2 check-ins for the team, and then go for my tissue work. And I think I need to go to Costco on the way back from the tissue work as well. So a few bits to do. I'll take my camera and everything, so film bits of that. I figured now we may as well answer some questions. I actually got some pretty decent questions for once. I think it's because I put make them good, so people actually made them good for once. Still some shit ones, but there are some better ones. Let's start with a shit one. Your favourite classic pose? Now, probably it's the one I hit on stage when the judges asked me, do you my favourite classic pose? The old, I mean, I like all of them to be fair, but probably that one where you then go up there. I'll put it on the screen now when I'm on stage, but it's the one I hit like every time I'd won with the like trophy or whatever. Cooper Films, my videographer, asked if we could hold hands maybe. We could do plenty more than that, mate, just it can't be on camera. Exciting things coming with Cooper. You know what, I can probably just say it on here because like, it's only YouTube, not that many people watch. So an exclusive. Got a few things in the works at the minute. I'm rebranding my coaching. So effectively just changing the logo because the logo I've got, I like it, but it's the one I very first made about 3.5 years ago now. So I just want to modernise it a little bit, and I had a graphic designer reach out to me, and they've done a fantastic job. So I'll launch all of that. I need to film sort of a reel announce and all that, but that's coming towards the end of the month, the coaching rebrand, and I'm also launching posing coaching alongside that for classic physique and bodybuilding. I thought about doing men's physique, and it is still something I may do in future. It's just right now I'm not that passionate about men's physique posing. I've done more men's physique shows than I have classic shows, so you know I'm more experienced really in that, but I've put a lot more time into my classic posing, so it's one of those. Later in future I may sort of go into that, but right now I'm not overly passionate about it. So posing coaching is also coming soon. I'll be doing that either online, so wherever you are, we can book in a call and go through it, just on a phone call, well, on like a FaceTime, or I'll also be doing it out of Ultraflex Rotherham, so you can come up to the hashtag Mecca. You can get your session in at the best gym in Europe, and then we can run through some posing after. So those things are coming. They're in the works at the minute. Also waiting to do another VQ shoot with good old Cooper towards the end of this month. I've got a call with them tomorrow actually, so hopefully that is me re-signing, because obviously when you sign with a brand, it's like an initial 3-month term. That 3 months is now up, so it's cool to sort of see what the future holds. So fingers crossed, stay with them. Don't see why I wouldn't. Done a pretty good job. So thank you to everybody who used my code. Like, I genuinely do really appreciate it. If you want to go use it again, it'd be great. Code Eagles at VQ. There's more utility stuff coming towards the end of this month, so more like tech wear, like active wear type stuff, and then next month's another big bodybuilding drop with all like the zip ups and baggy stuff. Big old Andrew, one of my clients, if you never fell in love with bodybuilding, what would you be doing? I'd still probably be at university. So the original plan is I went to a pretty good sixth form college. So that's when you're 17 and 18 for any Americans watching. I went to a pretty high up there one of those in Manchester. Did my A-levels, did an A-level in geography, economics and psychology. The plan then was to go to university and do accounting and economics. So if I didn't end up going to bodybuilding, I would be at a university somewhere doing accounting and economics and going to become like a financial advisor or an accountant or something along those lines. But thankfully, I decided to postpone uni, go after bodybuilding, and now here we are. So probably the right decision, you know. But again, wouldn't have even minded doing the old economic stuff. Final question for now, do some more in a bit. What are your sort of coping mechanisms when prep gets hard? Shut everyone out, just embrace the suffer. No, I don't really have any. I generally do just go pretty closed off from everyone and everything. I think that's pretty normal. I think most people do. I just isolate myself very heavily, which sounds a bit weird, but when I'm in that moment, that's all I want to do. So I don't really care. It doesn't bother me at all. It's a bit unfair on those around me. Like bodybuilding's incredibly selfish, and I'm just a bit vacant. I'm not really there. Like, you could speak to me, but I'm just not there when it's like the last, let's say, 4 weeks of prep. It just sort of close off, and I'd say the only people I speak to are my clients really. Besides that, it's just steps, wait for your next meal. I'm always just doing something. I've got to stay busy in prep, so yeah, I don't really have a great coping mechanism. I just sort of shut off and get the job done, I guess. Following on from that, I might as well do one more, because there was one more that was similar to that. It was, where was it? Yeah, here we go. It's ways to make prep easier. Now, 2 answers to this. The more harsh answer is, why are you trying to make it easier? Like, prep just is prep. You don't need to overthink it. If you're already living a bodybuilding lifestyle, right, you're training 5-6 times a week, you're eating 5-6 meals a day, you're doing X amount of expenditure, whether that's 2 lots of 30 a week on your rest days, or you're doing daily cardio, whatever, right? Those 3 things are what really make a bodybuilder, okay? You're in the off season, you're doing that. You're on prep, you're doing that. Yeah, in prep, you may be doing a little bit more cardio, eating a bit less food. You're still eating X amount of meals a day, training X amount of times a week, doing X amount of cardio. There's 3 things to it, that's really it. So don't overcomplicate it, don't overthink it. Yeah, you may be a little bit tired, but you know, in the off season, I'm sure you get tired of eating. You still go and eat. So in prep, you're tired, you don't want to do cardio, you still going to do your cardio. Not eating's a pretty easy thing to do. You just don't eat. Yeah, you want to eat and it's hard, but I'd like to assume you want to win more than you want to eat. So just don't fucking eat for a couple of weeks, and then as soon as the show's done, as soon as you've won, you can go and eat. Like, the food's always going to be there. You need to remind yourself of that. Like, it's very hard to have that mindset, but I think that comes with, like, I've done 15 shows now. I've done 4 entire preps. And it's just something you learn. Like, the first few preps, yeah, I probably didn't handle it that well. I was constantly on YouTube watching like food videos, like Eric the Electric and all those sorts of like people eating like 50,000 calories and calorie challenges. Because you fixate on it when you're hungry and you can't have it, and it keeps your attention. But it makes it harder, in my opinion. So like, the actual tip to make prep a little bit easier from the food hunger standpoint is unfollow all these fucking food pages on Instagram. That's just, you don't need to see it, okay? Don't watch food videos, because if you watch those, you're torturing yourself, you're just teasing yourself, you're constantly thinking about it, you're constantly looking at it, you're constantly wanting it, and it's only going to make your life harder. If you just disassociate from all of it, you don't see it, you don't pay attention to it, you know you can't have it, you've got your meal plan of what you can have, fixate on the food you can have, right? Don't fixate on the food you can't have, because you're constantly going to be wanting it. So, you know, I've done preps where I've fixated on it, and it's been a hell of a lot harder than like last prep or the prep before that, when I just didn't fucking pay attention to any of it. So that's one. I'd say, for me, fasted cardio makes prep easier, purely because if you, like, fasted cardio doesn't burn any more fat, right? There's no benefit to doing it fasted as opposed to at the end of the day, unless you're using like a Yimbine HCL. But even then, I'd argue it's not going to be life-changing, okay? So the reason I suggest fasted cardio is just routine, structure, like, and you just get up, you know, okay, I'm getting up, I'm getting straight on the treadmill. You don't have time to think about it, you don't have time to dread it, you just wake up, and before you know it, you're doing your cardio. Now, I'm pretty lucky that I've got a treadmill here, so doing cardio when I wake up is pretty easy. Some people may have to travel to a gym. Now, if you don't drive and you've got to get a bus, then yeah, okay, it's getting a little bit tricky. That's where I'd probably just invest in like a shitty exercise bike for 100 quid, 200 quid off like Facebook Marketplace and do your cardio at home. But getting that done early doors, I've got a client with it, so Meg at the minute. Meg was struggling pretty heavily with her cardio, just sort of, she works incredibly hard, travels a long way to work, so getting to the end of the day, she's had like a 14-hour day already and she had to go do cardio, right? Not very pleasant. Made her start doing it fasted, and it's made it a lot easier, because if you think about it, if you've got to go to work, then you've got to train, then you've got to eat a meal, it's getting 6, 7, 8 p.m. All day, you've been thinking, fucking hell, I've still got an hour of cardio to do at 8 p.m. Fucking, you're dreading it, it becomes a chore. It gets around to 8 p.m. You don't want to go, it's an absolute slog, it's a mental battle, and all that is just taking energy, it's making you feel shit, it's a negative mindset. It's going to make prep harder, right? Whereas if you just got up earlier, did it before work, that cardio's boxed off before you can even think about it. Then you feel accomplished because your cardio's done for the day. You're not thinking about it all day. You know that, right, all I've got to go and do is train, and then I can relax. It just puts you in a much more positive headspace. So I think fasted cardio tends to make people's days a little bit easier from the standpoint of you're not longing, dreading cardio all day, which does put a bit of a buzzkill on the day. As for the training side of things, because training, if anyone's got in true condition, training gets very, very difficult when you're tired, and it's sort of the most important thing. If your training drops off, you're going to look shit. Because I've done it and I've been there, right? Best thing that helped with that was get a decent training partner. So Finn for me last year was an absolute godsend. That definitely made training a little bit more enjoyable. What probably made it even easier was he was also dieting, so he was also able to relate to me and how shit I was feeling. We sort of pushed each other, and it was fantastic. So I'd say that. Just general structure as well, routine, like know when you're training every day, try to eat the same meals at the same times every day, just take all thinking out of it. If you're trying to work out, like, oh, if I eat my meal now, then I can save 100 calories for later and this, that, and the other, like, yeah, all that's great and it's going to occupy you, but again, you're thinking too much, you're overthinking it, you're constantly stressing, constantly worrying about when your next meal is, constantly thinking about your next meal and worrying about food. Like, just write it all down. Meal 1, fucking 9 a.m, meal 2, whatever, right? Just structure it, take all the thinking out of it. That's what works for me very well, just become an absolute robot. I'd also delay your meal 1, to be fair, so stay fasted longer. I ended up eating my meal 1 at like 10, 11 a.m. So just push that meal one back as long as you can. Once you've eaten something, it's then pretty hard to not eat for a while because it sort of gets your appetite going. Whereas if you wake up fast in the morning, it's pretty easy to not eat for a little while. So I'll delay that meal one. But ultimately, prep's going to be hard. And if you're constantly looking for ways to make it easier, you're probably not going to do too well. So accept it's going to be tough, but then just set yourself up for success with all those things I've said, like do your fasted cardio, get your meal timings worked out, don't torture yourself watching food videos, and just do the fucking work, basically. The old trained by JP quote, nobody cares, work harder, is what comes to mind. You want to complain, go for it, nobody cares, just work harder, is the nice way to put it. Right, I'm going to go do some work, do some check-ins, and then go for my tissue work. Right, on the way to the hashtag Mecca, I've got an hour of tissue work with Will. It's my favourite hour of the week when I get rubbed down by a 6-foot nail with oil. Right, we are back from tissue work. Didn't go to Costco on the way back, came back to eat, and so I had just eaten meal 3, which was chicken wraps, which was delightful. It's far better than chicken and rice. Now going to Costco because I need more fish and some other bits, so I'm going to walk around Costco with a camera and look like a cunt, but it'll be good for YouTube because everybody loves a grocery haul, man. Right, Costco haul. They wouldn't let us film in there. So, started off with a nice pot of fizzy worms for post-workout. So, Tom's protocol, not mine. He said like 50 grams of sweets post-workout for easy carbs. Then we've got basically just over a kilo of tilapia. Then we've got, would you look at that, another just over a kilo of tilapia. And then to finish that off, we got another kilo of tilapia. So, about 50 quid's worth of fish. These aren't mine because I'm an athlete. Pepsi Max, what is it, cherry? For Em because she's dieting. She's in the hashtag trenches, so she needs sugar-free drinks. And then, because I'm a fat cunt, basically just got a shitload of fruit juice. Again, post-workout, lovely. Some nice Ziploc bags because I need to freeze some of this fish because I won't eat 3 kilos of fish in a week. So I need to freeze that. My favourite purchase of the shop, we've got a load of wet wipes when you take a shit, because I'm an avid believer in using wet wipes. Because, like, if you think about it, if any of you out there use tissue, you are disgusting. Looking at Em behind the camera, right? She's just, all she's doing is just smearing shit around the bumhole. Because, like, if the bird's shat in your arm, you're not just going to get a bit of tissue and just wipe it off, are you? You'd still think you've got shit there. So, why, when you've got poo on your bum, do you think just wipe that bit of tissue will sound? No, you've got a pooey bum. So start using wet wipes, please. If Andrex want to sponsor me, I will take that, to be fair, because they're fucking expensive. And it is the off-season, it's near 6,000 calories now. So then we've got a mop, because my floor needs mopping. So I got a mop. The mop doesn't fucking fit. It fit. I'm back from Costco, so I've had tissue work, I've eaten 3 meals, I've been to Costco, so I've got some food back in. It's 20 to 3, I've done a bit of work, done a couple of check-ins this morning. I've basically just got a shitload of work to do this afternoon, like a solid like 12 check-ins, so you know I'll be here for the next 6-7 hours. But before I start that, I might as well do a couple more questions. I also need to cook some food and eat some food in a bit, so I will film that back in a bit. Was the plan to ever get a pro card so young, or did it just fall into place? No, it was certainly to get a pro card. In terms of getting it young, like, yes and no. Like, I just wanted to get a pro card as soon as possible. Obviously, to get it as soon as possible, that means doing it at a younger age, I guess. So, yes and no. Like, I literally remember being 16, 17, used to have to get the bus to the gym. I just moved up to Manchester, so I was on the bus to the gym. And I knew Ryan Terry at the time, like watched a lot of his YouTube, knew he competed, knew he was a pro, so I just remember Googling like, how do you turn IFBB pro? And then it basically just came up with like 2 bros in the UK. and this is before I'd ever competed, I was so naive. So I was like, all right, I need to do a 2 pro show, men's physique to turn pro. And then obviously looked down the competing route. I was natural at the time, so I was like, makes sense to start with a natural show. So then just went and did natural UKDFBA when I was 17. And it progressed from there. And like, yeah, I think I've been very realistic. You know, I knew when I was not good enough for a pro card, there was no point trying. I've still been to pro qualifiers when there was no point in trying, because you still need to compare yourself to others. But very much like the whole bodybuilding goal was to sort of turn pro. You don't work that hard for 4 years if it's not really that goal. So effectively, yeah, I guess it was. A bit of a deeper question. You train at Ultraflex Rotherham. Did you ever train with Neil Curry? So for those who don't know, Neil Curry was a classic IFBB pro. He won the New York Pro, been to the Olympia. Fucking phenomenal physique. He was just going into his off season, he was progressing to open bodybuilding, because he used to have to kill himself to make his weight cap in classic physique. Unfortunately, he passed away literally on my birthday last year when I was a week out. Well, it was a couple of days out actually. It's like a day before I flew, which is very sad. I knew him very well. I was very good friends with him, so never actually trained with him directly. Spotted each other here and there. Most of our time was spent sort of posing in the posing room. He helped me a lot with my posing. I've never paid for a posing lesson, but he probably gave the most time to sort of help my posing. Was always very sort of supportive in a weird way. Like a lot of pros, understandably, are sort of in the gym because it's their job, it's their career, right? They've not got time for anybody else. They just go to the gym, get the job done, and they fuck off home, right? Neil was always there, like speaking to people, helping people, and was a very nice guy. So it is a shame he has passed away, but yeah, never trained with him directly, but spent a lot of time sort of posing and just speaking to him. The main thing that helps you grow your socials, consistency. I think there's a few questions here about like sort of growing social media and that side of things, and it's like consistency, luck, and providing value and entertainment. Like people need to be invested. So like people are invested with my prep, people are invested with how I looked, how I was going to look, the sort of journey, the process. The luck came through getting some like reels that went viral per se, like good engagement. So that obviously then draws in a much bigger crowd much more quickly. But you know, I've been posting consistent on Instagram since I started bodybuilding. So it's been like, again, 4 years or so, and it's only really come up in the last 9 months, I'd say, really. Well, yeah, last year and a half, really, last 2 years maybe, is a fair way to put it, but just be consistent, provide value, show personality, like let people actually know you, and then they'll connect and they'll engage. If you just post in a physique update once a week with not really any substance to it, nobody's going to give a shit, are they? Unless you look like Chris Bumstead, which you obviously don't. So be consistent, and realistically, you've got to be self-aware, right? If you've got, you know, a pretty average physique, people aren't going to follow you for your physique. Don't be delusional. Like, yeah, you may be 18, 19, you may have a good physique for an 18, 19-year-old. There are plenty of 18, 19-year-olds out there with a good physique. You have to sort of stand out. You need to sell yourself, show more personality than the others, you know, be funnier, this, that, and the other, unless you've got like an absolute worldie of a physique. Chances are if you've got a worldie of a physique, you're already going to be quite well known. So it's one of those, don't act entitled and feel like just because you're 18 with, you know, fucking a good physique means that everybody should follow you. Like, nobody gives a shit, right? Everybody's got a good physique to an extent. You need to provide more than just a fucking physique. Any tips on how to train legs with patellar tendonitis? Don't fucking train, right? If you've got tendonitis, the only way it's going to, you know, get better is by not training, right? Tendonitis is inflammation. If you keep training, you're going to inflame it more. It's never going to get better. If you actually take 3-4 weeks off the gym, it will get better, and then you'll be able to go back to training. And then you do your mobility work alongside that, get your tissue work done, and then funnily enough, you won't have tendonitis anymore. So if you are somebody who struggles with tendonitis, you know, stop being stubborn, take time off, let it actually die down, heal, then go back to training. And then when you go back to training, sort your form out for one, make sure you're doing all your mobility work, your tissue work, you're taking your omegas, and then 3, get a pair of knee wraps or knee sleeves, hard body, Code Eagles, they're what I use, and that. But ultimately, it goes to your elbows as well. If you've got tendonitis, right, it's not going to get better unless you actually just let it rest. keep training all you want, it's still gonna fucking hurt every time. It's not gonna magically get better without you taking time off. Do you take natty clients? Yes, absolutely. I've got fucking loads of natty. I've probably got, it's probably about equal, to be fair, natty to assisted clients. But no, absolutely, I take natty clients. Right, I've now got a shitload of work to do, so I'm gonna do that, and then we'll come back and do some more questions of it, because the rest of my day now is really just work and eat with a few steps here and there. So yeah, we'll fill it out with questions to make it interesting. Right, I've got all my fish packaged up, ready to freeze. Oh shit. This fridge is getting too full of just frozen meat. It's like 5:30 right now. I've not eaten in quite some time because I end up doing shitloads of work, and I've still got a fair bit to do. But I'm gonna eat a fish and rice now, do some work, probably do some steps, and then eat either another fish and rice or a chicken and rice in a bit. And then my final meal is oats, and that's the food done for the day. I've still got some work to do, steps to do, and need to eat, and I'm done for the day. Right, the lighting looks horrendous, but it's really bright outside, so it's very hard to get the lighting right. Rice for the next 2 meals, I've done 280, so 140 sushi rice per meal. Not going to weigh them out individually, just going to eyeball it and eat them both. Anybody wondering what sushi rice I use, it's that one. Grab it on Amazon, it's like 15 quid? £20 of 5 kilos, which is a lot for rice, but it makes eating it a lot more enjoyable, so it's worth it. Right, I've just air fried my tilapia for 10 minutes on 180 degrees Celsius. The reason this is so much easier to eat than chicken is it's fish, so it's a lot softer. So what you want to do is just absolutely mince it just before you put it in the chicken and rice. Really just turn it into like cat food type. Until it's just like a lump of mush. And then you just scrape it into the bowl of chicken and rice, and then mince that all up, and then you've literally just got a big bowl of cat food that you don't have to chew, and you can just like plow through and swallow really easily. Hence why it's my last 2 main meals of the day, because I'm pretty full and this is very easy to eat. So I ate that tilapia and rice, so that was meal 4. Got meal 5 in about an hour, and then I'll have meal 6 like pretty much just before I go to bed. So as for now, I've just ate that meal and then did a load more work. So I've got a tiny few bits of work left to do, but that's more or less done for the day now. The sun is just going down, which is nice. I've got a few more steps to go and do in a minute. Either on the treadmill or outside. It depends if I've got any to do. I may actually go outside for a walk, but I far prefer the treadmill. So hopefully just on the treadmill. But I'm going to finish off answering a few questions now, and then that will be more or less it for the video, because all I'm doing for the rest after this is just 2 meals, some steps, and that's pretty much it. So not much to film really, if anything. So if you could train with any bodybuilder, past, present, who would it be, plus what you're training? God, I'm going to give 2 different answers here. Difficult, I'd say
Not sure if you class him as a bodybuilder, so this is a bit of a dodgy answer, but either a Hani Rambod or Mike, I don't actually know Mike's surname. Mike Van Wyck, that's it, I didn't know that. Yeah, either one of them two, purely from the standpoint of I want to learn. So Hani obviously does his FST7, which is very different to the way I train. So I kind of just want to try that and see what that's about, really. Because it obviously works, right? And it'd just be a different avenue to training that I'd like to be able to do, if that makes sense. So that's one, but he's not really a bodybuilder, so it doesn't really answer the question. Mike Van Wyck is a bodybuilder, so that does count. And again, just for learning, because his training style is very unique, I'd say. Like, I don't want to train back with Mike, and hopefully probably will one day. As for Hani, I don't really care what I train. Probably chest, because I need a better chest, so let's go chest there. And then for the actual answer you want, in terms of an actual, like, bodybuilder, like Olympian. Kevin Lavrone, so that I can be in a cool edit on TikTok. No. Ryan Terry, that's my final answer. Just wish I could train with Ryan Terry. Tips for cutting: put the fucking fork down, mate. That's a good one. What age do you think you'll get to the Olympia? 23 or 24, I think, realistically. Yeah, 23 or 24. Wow, what an insightful question. Favourite rear delt exercise? Probably a rear delt fly, mate. I think probably that one. What's the biggest thing bodybuilding's taught you? Discipline, probably. That has also gone very dark now because the lighting's changed. Right, hopefully you can see me better now because the sun was setting, so that went very badly. Yeah, probably discipline and just like doing shit that you don't want to do, but you've got to do it because there's a reason you need to do it, if that makes sense. So applies to a lot to being self-employed, I guess, because like there's always work I could do being self-employed, but then I don't actually have to do any work because I've not got deadlines or a boss. Obviously, if I don't do that work, then the business will fail and I won't have any money, so there is some motivation there. But you know, there's no reason I need to go and do a bit of work after this. I could leave it all for tomorrow morning and nobody would say anything, but if I do that, then tomorrow's work will build up and then that may suffer and then it won't lead into Friday, and so on. So yeah, discipline's probably the main one, I think. And it's also, it's not fair, right? Life is not fair, so is bodybuilding. Somebody's going to have better genetics, somebody's going to show up, somebody's going to have politics, right? It happens. Take it on the chin and get on with it. What's your experience and or opinion on coaching strategies for bikini girls? Now, a question from a female. Who thought females watched the YouTube? I'll keep this one short, again, because probably not that many people care about my experience or opinion on strategies for coaching bikini girls. However, I've got a few. Don't know how many off the top of my head. 4 or 5, probably bikini. I think I've got more in figure and wellness, to be fair, but I've got Meg, who is currently 8 or 9, 10 weeks out. Between 8 and 10 weeks out, somewhere around there, from her bikini show, her first timer show. So a good amount sort of experience there, I would say. I wouldn't prep somebody if I wasn't confident. I've done the entire J3U female course, which is written by John Jewett, and that's like pretty in depth. Not that that's a qualification, but I think that's probably the best qualification you'll get within the industry. So I've done that. In terms of strategies, a lot of it is transferable from men in many ways, and a lot of it isn't. You know, the hormonal side of things is completely different. So dealing with periods and cycles and the hormonal fluctuation throughout those cycles is incredibly different. And the impacts that then sees on fat loss, muscle gain, water retention, the whole lot, it throws stuff out of the window, as does birth control. So if you've got a client that's on birth control, the way that then impacts hormones and the sort of impacts you expect to see from that, that's not gone too bright. So I can't remember where I was. Birth control and that stuff all impacts everything dramatically. So knowing all that information and knowing what to do with all that information, as well as being in prep and managing fatigue, because from a female standpoint in bikini preps, you know, when they're going through their cycles and their hormonal periods, the ability to drop fat changes. At the pace at which that will happen, the body's responsiveness will change throughout that cycle based on hormones. So directly after your period, in the follicular stage, that's when fat loss and the body's responsiveness, recovery in the gym is generally going to be better because that's when estrogen will be highest. So sort of timing, I guess, diet breaks and fatigue management strategies alongside that is pretty useful, which I don't think a lot of people do. So that whole side of things. Obviously coaching for bikini specifically, it's a difficult one. The criteria is probably the hardest to meet because like with male classes, you're looking at, right, get as big and as shredded as you can whilst fitting the criteria. So whilst having a classic shape, all you need to do is get as big and shredded as you can within that weight cap, right? You can't really go wrong as long as you do those two things. With bikini, if you get too lean, you get marked down. If you're not lean enough, you get marked down. So you've got to find that sweet spot of what they're looking for with hardness, softness really, but as well as conditioning. And hitting that look is, I'd argue, is more challenging than hitting the look for a male client. So it's making sure you're up to date on the criteria and what's being rewarded it shows, not only at the Olympia level, but also at the amateur level, because I believe there's a strong discrepancy between what wins an amateur show and what wins a pro show. I think if you showed up to an amateur bikini show looking like a pro bikini, you'd actually get marked down for being too lean, for being too hard. So I think you need to be very aware of what show you're doing and look at the previous winners, look at the standard, look at what they reward and hit that. Don't just look at the Olympia and go for that, because chances are you're not going to look like that and it's then going to impact your stage look and your presence and your results. So yeah, could go on for ages, but I'll leave it there because probably not that interesting to a lot of people, but there are a fair few different strategies you can go for. But yeah. Right, final question, because I'm sure, maybe two more actually. Do you think everyone should hit vacuums in their front pose? No. I think if it makes your feet look better, hit it. I think if you want to be the best, you need to be able to hit both. So, you know, if you're on stage, like personally, I've never hit a front double crunched. I don't think that looks very nice. I much prefer, because you get the whole argument at the minute, should you hit a front double crunched or opened up? I think opened up personally. I think almost everybody will look far better unless you've got a fridge for a waist like Nick Walker. So yeah, personally, I like a front double with a vacuum more so. I think a front relax is very person dependent. I think if some people vacuum, it looks weird and too forced. I think if some people just relax, not like just pull up, don't pull in, just pull their stomach up, that looks best. And then for other people, if they crunch, it looks best. Like, that's very person dependent, I think. I think for an abs and thigh, that's where I'd lean more towards you should flex your abs and you should show them, because I'd argue that's part of the criteria for that one. Now, I think you can hit variations. I think if you hit it crunched initially and then pull up into a vacuum, sure, that shows a bit of diversibility. That's like, don't even know if that's a word. Doesn't sound it. Diversity, shows a bit of diversity. Then, yeah, probably go for it. But I think initially you should hit it, an abs and thigh, just flexed the way it used to be hit. But for all the others, I think it's person dependent and ultimately what makes you look the best in that pose. Until the IFBB or NPC specifically say you have to hit it flexed or pulled up, then do it to whatever benefits you the most. Play the fucking game, right? Just posing is a game of illusions. Fucking play it. Your go-to to learn how to pose and transition between them. Follow posing coaches on Instagram, practice, and watch how the pros do it and try to replicate it. You know, that's how I learned, was just watch pros and people who know how to pose do it and then try it myself and practice until it looks smooth. Like, I'm not naturally a good poser. I've taught myself over many years, which is why I'm pretty confident going into providing posing coaching that I'll be pretty decent at it. So yeah, watch people who know what they're doing, but like, don't just watch them, like analyze it, watch it over and over. Look how they move their feet, look how they move their arms, look what they do with their stomach, when they breathe, when they don't breathe. Watch all of that, and you do that for a while, you'll notice that the guys at the Olympia, even within the top 10, top 5, aren't amazing at posing sometimes. Ramon's one, for example. He's not, you know, when he's in the pose, he looks fantastic. But a lot of poses, like you've seen Tyler Mannion do the breakdown of it, a lot of poses he doesn't hit them to the best way he could for his physique. So yeah, he's one of them. So ultimately my advice would be just watch that, and then also Keep an eye on my Instagram because I'm going to do a lot more posing reels. And when posing coaching comes, shoot me a message. We can jump on a phone call. But that is that. I think I'm going to leave this video here. I'm literally going to go do some steps, eat 2 more meals, and then go to bed. And that is it for the day. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Any videos you want to see in future, like I'll always do the training videos when I am training. Obviously I'm deloading at the minute, hence why I've done this video today for this week. Any other videos you actually want to see, breakdowns or anything, more educational stuff, let me know. DM me or leave it in the comments. But yeah, that is it. Like and subscribe so you don't miss it, and I will catch you in the next one.
I'm so beautiful without you. Now my skin glows and it shines like glue. I'm pretty without